are people all over this country that are not getting the healthcare that they need, and CENK is talking about Mike Tyson and women's sports. He should feel ashamed of himself. I don't know how he sleeps at night. Hello, my name is Liz Ashley and welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to be talking about Cenk Uygur calling out the Vanguard boys. Now, if you watch my channel, I am so sorry about like my weird posting schedule. I posted something and I guess my laptop didn't have enough memory, and so I moved that one to just membership only. I do have a membership, so it got kind of messed up, but I have it on my membership now. And then I had to get a new phone because my phone was cracked and then it started glitching. So I'm really sorry. There's lots of stuff to talk about. And today, Cenk being one of them, I'm also gonna talk about Ethan and Hassan in my next video and everything going on with that. And then I have some other stuff I want to talk about too. So let's get into it. All right. So Cenk, I know for so long I was really mad at Anna, but now I'm like really frustrated with Cenk, like actually really frustrated with Cenk. The transphobia that is happening on TYT is why I'm making this video, why I'm reacting to this, because I just got so angry watching the new Vanguard, their video about Cenk. I got so angry when I was watching it. I was like, I have to make a video. So here we are. So the Vanguard has been calling out TYT for a really long time now. And I just want to say, because they're always like, yeah, we're the ones who started it. I'm like, yes, you did. And now people are doing it. And I'm like, yes, I am. Because I've been wanting to talk about like politics and political stuff and not just like celebrity drama, because that is what I consume as political content. And so, yeah, anyway, and so that's why I also enjoy talking about this, because this is the content that I consume on a daily basis. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, why did Cenk call them out? Well, Cenk has been calling them out for a while now, but he called them out the most recent time because they said that they got a leaked audio of Cenk talking to his members. It was a members only live stream, and him saying that he's no longer going to be a fighter.
Obviously, Cenk responding to and addressing the leaked audio from that members only Zoom call that we played for you guys a couple days ago over here. And in that audio, not only does Cenk kind of admit defeat and lay down, say, I'm done being a warrior, I'm done fighting the right wing, now it's time to be a peacemaker. That was the first thing he said, but then he segued into an announcement where he basically promised to restart something similar to Justice Democrats. You know, he's going to start a new PAC or a new political organization that's intended to recruit candidates.
Because for so long, that's what Cenk said he was. He said he was a fighter and he fights and he's gonna fight people. He even said that on Francesca's show, The Bituation Room. He said, well, I'm gonna fight. He's like, and if the extreme left is wrong, then I'm gonna fight them. And it's like, okay, dude, like you were on stage with Charlie Kirk, like same with Gavin Newsom, and y'all don't seem to have any fight then. But when it comes to leftists, y'all suddenly have all the fight in the world. But you know, I digress. But now he said that he's gonna be the peacemaker, which is a wild thing to do. Cenk wants to play nice with fascists, which is not going to work, which has never worked. It doesn't work. You can play nice with people who want to take your rights away. And so, but Cenk wants to make the peace, right? He wants to make the peace and hang out with Dr. Phil. He wants to go on Dr. Phil's show, where Dr. Phil didn't even know that TYT. He said YTY.
Cenk is known for his passionate commentary, and he's built a platform, YTY. How are you doing, my friend?
Good, brother.
It's so pathetic from someone who always was like, I'm a fighter, I stand up, blah, blah, blah. He wants to be a peacemaker now. And the Vanguard was talking about how it was leaked. Now, Cenk got very upset and responded and was like, oh, it was leaked. He's like, we did it on live. Like, it wasn't leaked.
Virginia was part of the great town hall that we did on Wednesday, which was leaked to other people. It was in the member section. We did it on air. Okay, but congratulations on your leak. Okay, so if you don't know, some bozos online said that, and by the way, they also, of course, lied, which is what they always do. And they say, oh, Cenk's gonna do a new project where he's gonna get paid. Really? What am I gonna get paid? What have I taken from any wolf pack, just Democrats, rebellion pack, cavalry pack? Zero. But did they say that? No, they just make up a lie because there's no accountability.
You had it for paying members, and it was leaked to everyone, not just paying members, because you were only talking to paying members. So no, actually, they did kind of leak it because it wasn't something that was available to everyone. So on TYT, he called them out recently. He was getting very upset. So he went off on the Vanguard because he was like, oh, they're talking about me and they're lying about me. They're lying about all these things, which they haven't been lying.
We never actually said in that video, at least from what I remember, we never accused Cenk of having made money off of Justice Democrats or Rebellion PAC, at least not directly. What we did say is the reason why we think he will use this as a self-enrichment scheme is because of the fact that not even a year ago, when he was on the campaign trail running for president, he said on Crystal Kyle and Friends that he would take corporate PAC money.
He said that they've been lying because that they're saying that Cenk pays himself with like Wolfpack or something. And they were like, no, we didn't say that because Cenk is coming out with a new pack and who knows what it's going to be. But he's coming out with a new pack. And all they were saying that is a lot of people, when they do stuff like this, they start nonprofits, they start these things, they start these organizations to pay themselves. And they think that's what he's doing because honestly, it fits a track record. It fits a track record from taking money to Polymarket to literally running for president to sell your book. Like, I don't put it past him. You know? And Cenk wants to be all mightier than that and be like, oh, how dare you say that about me? And it's like, dude, look at your track record. Why would anyone take you seriously? Why would anyone believe you at this point? It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me that you still think that you are somehow a sound voice on the left. There were other people who were commenting in, and one of them was about trans rights and how Cenk has become like has continued to throw trans people under the bus. And this is something that made me leave TYT. This is why I stopped subscribing to TYT. I never paid or whatever, but I unsubscribed from them. And I stopped watching them as a whole because of Anna's transphobia and now Cenk's. Cenk said that he thinks it's crazy that anyone would think that he's transphobic or that he's anti-trans. He said that it was crazy and that we're all idiots and morons who think that, or we're just all lying who think that.
All Americans, no matter who online yells louder. Oh, I'm the one protecting them because I have the most counterproductive moronic strategy where we go super extreme. And when we go that extreme, the Americans will love us. No, they won't. They'll hate trans people. Don't do that to them. By the way, every one of the people who say we're anti or I'm anti-trans is a giant liar.
Now, I have a lot to say. About this. I have so much to say about this because the rant that he goes on proves the point that he is throwing trans people under the bus for his political popularity, acting like they're just some sort of bargaining tool instead of actual human beings that deserve rights. Cenk says that he thinks that trans people should be able to go in whatever bathroom they choose. I agree. And he thinks that they should be able to be in the military, which Donald Trump they're not able to anymore. He signed an executive order. It's obviously not constitutional, but he did sign it. He is saying that they should still be in the military. I agree. My stance is that trans people are human beings that deserve human rights. And we shouldn't use them as a bargaining tool for political popularity. Now, something that Cenk likes to do is he likes to pick and choose what rights he thinks trans people should have. And when people say, hey, that's transphobic, you shouldn't be able to pick and choose what rights trans people should have just because the narrative around that right or the narrative around whatever people are saying is unpopular. He's saying that because the issue of trans people being able to play in sports is not popular, because it is not a popular policy, so we should just throw them under the bus and tell them that they can't do that because it is not a popular thing. Because Cenk says that it doesn't poll right. Well, I don't really care how something polls. I don't really care if it's not popular. Most marginalized groups, when they fought to get rights, it was not popular. It was not a popular thing. And yet, people still fought for those rights because it's not about what's popular. It's not about what's popular. It is about what is right. It is about human rights, and everyone deserves them. And so using trans people's rights as a bargaining chip because you've deemed that it is not a popular policy to stand behind them is bullshit, and it's not leftist, and it's not the left, and you don't speak for the left. Well, who are you speaking for? Because that's what he said. That's what he said about people who are standing up for trans people, saying, hey. He's saying, hey, it's your fault. It's your fault because you're getting too loud. You're getting too extreme. We've decided that we only want trans people to have these rights because that's all we're comfortable with. And so because you're not capitulating to that, because you want to sit here and be like, oh, they deserve human rights and we should stop making bills targeting them. You want to sit here and say, oh, that's too extreme. Now you're making them take your rights away. You are making them do this to you. That's what Cenk said. He said you are making them do this. I have news for Cenk. Him capitulating to fascism is not going to save him. It's not going to save his rights. It's not going to save him. Because what he knows, and I know he knows, is that fascists are not going to sit here and if you're nice, not take your rights away. If you capitulate and if you say, oh, sir, I'm gonna lick the boot, they're still going to take your rights away. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. They are still going to target them and take their rights away. And that is for every marginalized community. That is what they are doing. That is what they are going to do. They are going to do that whether you sit and placate them or not. And then he proceeds to say that he's like, oh, you think you're MLK? You think you're MLK because you... And then this is when he stutters.
They shouldn't be forced into professional sports. How dare he? Oh, I am the great protector. Oh, crap. You don't speak for anyone. So run your mouth, and I don't care. And you think you're like Martin Luther King because you have these insane ideas of putting like...
This is when he stutters and he doesn't know what to say. And then he comes up with a dumb hypothetical that was apparently from Piers Morgan about Mike Tyson joining women's sports.
Putting people like Floyd Mayweather into women's boxing, you think you're helping trans people? Because if he declares himself, I know it's a stupid hypothetical by Piers Morgan, but you can't say yes to that hypothetical. You can't argue that that is the correct strategy for trans people because you're going to cost them their rights. And you have. We had it on bathrooms in the military. And then you morons insist.
Oh my God, it's trans people's fault.
And how that's crazy, and that's crazy. And it's like, okay, first of all, the left is not advocating for that. You're not advocating for Mike Tyson to be in women's sports. And it's so dumb, and it's so stupid, because you were capitulating to right-wing framing like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro tried to make a documentary about this. Lady Ballers was supposed to be a documentary. Do you want to know why it wasn't a documentary? Because there were no men pretending to be women to get into women's sports. That doesn't happen. Trans people are on hormones. They are on medication. It takes years and it takes time and is a very strenuous process. There's so much red tape. It is so hard to get care right now for trans people. It is a very long and strenuous process. People don't just do it on a whim. And so they had to come up with a satire, stupid ass movie because they couldn't make a documentary. And yet, Cenk is still here using the same propaganda, using the same framing as Ben Shapiro and Piers Morgan, to make his point, and then say it's our fault. It's our fault for standing up for trans people. It's trans people's fault for wanting rights, that it's everyone else's fault. And the other part of this is he's like, oh, well, hey, I got Julian Michaels to agree that trans people should be able to go to whatever bathroom they want and that they should be in the military.
Okay, so for example, I do the Julian Michaels interview. I get Jillian to agree, yes. Trans people should be protected in bathrooms. They should be able to go to any bathroom they like. They should be protected in the military, and they shouldn't be kicked out of the military. Did anyone ever tell you that in the shows that you were watching? Of course not.
Oh, that's great. You got her to agree. Oh my God. What does that do? What is that doing? What is that doing? Because then in the next sentence, I watched that clip. And then in the next sentence, you talk about how, oh yeah, they just got too crazy. That's why we have to throw them under the bus, because they just got too crazy. They just want too many rights. They got too loud, they got too crazy, and they just want too many rights, which is a wild thing to say when trans people's rights are getting dismantled right now. Hunter Schafer, her passport is now has a male marker on her passport. I have a friend that had to move out of the state that I live in, which is a red state, because they couldn't get care. Because our attorney general was going after one of the only doctors left that did this care. And so that doctor had to leave this state. There are people all over this country that are not getting the health care that they need. And Cenk is talking about Mike Tyson and women's sports. He should feel ashamed of himself. I don't know how he sleeps at night. It's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Trans people, they're getting singled out of the military, and you're sitting here and and this is what you want to talk about? And this is what you're talking about. It's despicable. It's despicable. And then he wants to go and be like, oh, you want to try to be like MLK? Well, MLK wasn't popular. MLK was not popular. And Cenk, again, fucking knows that. He knows that. MLK was not popular. He was not a popular figure before he died. People hated him because he stood up for rights. And guess what? Those rights were not popular then either, Cenk. So are you saying that black people shouldn't have equal rights because it wasn't popular back then? Saying that people shouldn't have fought for those equal rights because it wasn't popular back then? Because you are being the liberal person that you used to yell at. Cenk is the exact person that he used to yell at and yell about and get so upset with. Cenk is that person. And honestly, I'm just like, this video really made me so mad, and it just pissed me off to another level because I'm so sick of the transphobia, and I'm so sick of people who are ostensibly on the left continuously throwing them under the bus because they deem it's not fucking popular. It doesn't matter what's popular. It matters that they have equal human rights. It matters that they can get the healthcare that they need. That's what matters. That's what fucking matters. But Cenk doesn't seem to care about any of that. He doesn't care because he's willing to throw them under the bus to be chummy with his right-wing friend so he can still go have a beer with them at the end of the day. And now my anger is not only to Cenk because Jordan Ewell and John Idarola were sitting right next to him and they didn't say a word.
Poor Jordan and John were in tow. They didn't get a chance to, add any thoughts or perspective of their own when it comes to this one, but they were awkwardly sitting there as Cenk did this.
And I have been very charitable to everybody left on TYT because I understand that that is their job and they need their jobs. I just don't understand how you could call yourself an ally when you won't stand up to someone who is literally throwing trans people under the bus and trying to bargain their rights away because it's not popular. Bargain their rights away for political popularity. And you're sitting right next to him and you just move on to the next segment and say, oh, it's okay. It's not okay. And I'm not saying they should quit. I'm not saying that because I understand that there's probably IP issues. Hassan talked about that with Cenk, but at least say something. At least say anything. I don't think Cenk's a good person, if I'm being completely honest. I think most of this media career he's had has been a grift, and I think that's blatantly clear at this point. And anyone who's willing to throw trans people under the bus is not on the left and is not a leftist, and is not going to be on the right side of history. So, yeah. All right. Usually I'm much more bubbly, but I this is something I really care about, and so, yeah. Anyway. If you like this video, please like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I really am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so if you could subscribe, that would honestly mean the world to me. And I'm gonna be more consistent. I'm so sorry, the past 2 weeks have just been a lot. I'm trying to get a new computer because mine is like on its way out. My phone was on its way out, so that's why I had to get a new phone. So I've been having tech issues, but I'm working on it, and yeah. Well, all right, I will see you in the next video. All right.